Hello, everyone. Caren Glasser here, and welcome to this episode of Connecting People, Changing Lives. And I am here with my amazing cohort and co-host, Nancy Ferrari. Good morning, Nancy. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Good morning to you, my cohort. We came up with that. I think there's a word called cohort, but I like heart because we're all about just coming from our heart center. And speaking of heart centered, I'm so excited to have our guest with us today, who, Caren, you knew Blaze before I did, and we both got to connect with her in March at an event called It's Your Turn, and she really is an amazing woman, a woman with a big heart, and she was just busy as a bee at that event, so I'm so excited that she's here with us today so we can introduce her to our viewers. So without further ado, Blaze, and I'm hoping I didn't verify your last name, and I should know, Lazarony, yes, is a transformational business strategist, founder of, and I love her company name, Blaze, A Brilliant Path. She's a best-selling author and a speaker. For 20 years, Blaze held high-level positions in Fortune 500 companies, including Macy's and many more. And she's going to be sharing her story as to what came about in her life that shifted her to where she is today. And she's passionate with working with coaches, consultants, and healers who feel confused, yes, I know that feeling at times, frustrated, and lost about how to run a profitable and successful business. So with that said, I warmly welcome you, Blaze, to our show, Connecting People, Changing Lives. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Nancy. Good morning, Caren. Thank you for having me on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Well, we are so excited to have you. So we're just going to jump right in. And there was a defining moment in your life that kind of shift, that really started the shift. So let's just go back to there. Let's have you tell your story, and then I know we're going to get into some really great information because we were busy talking and chatting and blabbing right before the show. So Blaze, let's go back to that time, that shift that happened for you. What happened?
I was diagnosed in 2003 out of the clear blue sky with thyroid cancer. And cancer doesn't run in my family. There's lots of other health illnesses that run in my family. And when it really hit, when it really came in, I need to be honest, I was getting the whispers a few years ahead of time. You know how Oprah talks about the whispers, and they become louder and louder until basically it's a brick that hits you over the head. I started getting some whispers. There were some things not particularly right with my health. And my ego was so wrapped up in my job. I was running 42 stores for Macy's in Northern California, Nevada, and Minnesota as a senior executive and managing $2.5 billion worth of sales. So I was traveling and in my stores and really working, but I was getting these signals that I needed to slow down, and I didn't want to. And when I was diagnosed with cancer, I literally called my boss from my oncologist's office after they gave me the news and said, I love you, which I did. He's an amazing person, and we still stay connected. But I said to him, I really need to change my life because I literally knew, that cancer wasn't going to kill me because I was diagnosed with stage 2 cancer. But the life I was living was going to kill me if I didn't change it. And I was 38. Mm-hmm. And at the same point in time, I was trying to get pregnant, believe it or not. And so, because I had put it off, and I had had some issues with all of that. And so what ended up happening, it was the perfect storm. I had cancer. I just quit my job, which my ego was totally attached to, and oh, by the way, they told me I couldn't get pregnant at all because the treatment they were going to give me would impact the fetus. So it was a pretty dark time.
Wow.
Really dark time.
Yes.
So what happened?
Yeah. How do you recover? And that's what people are just saying.
Wow.
Yeah. How do you recover is right.
Yes. And obviously you had to take care of yourself, and the with all the treatments and things like that. But then, what I know, and I know you know this too, from the darkness comes the light, in that awakening moment? When did that happen for you?
What really happened was I really took care of myself in 2002, in 2003. And then in 2004, I really looked at this and said, how can I be of service in the world? How can I give back to the world with all the information that I know? I'm a lifelong learner, so what can I learn? What other things do I need to learn where I can still really slow down? Because I was a workaholic, of course, when you're living that kind of lifestyle. So I went and got a coaching certification with Martha Beck, who writes for the Oprah magazine. Really loved her work, totally resonated after I read her book, Finding Your North Star. I just had to go and train with her. And after I finished the training, I felt like it was just like a drop in the bucket and I needed more. So I went and got a second certification, which was a year-long intensive at the Institute for Transpersonal Psychology, which is in Palo Alto, California. And the study of ontology is what they focus on there at the school, and it's now been renamed Sophia University. And ontology is the study of who we be. So I was well versed in what we do in this world. I was a big-time doer. And kicking my butt was who we be, because I really need to learn who I was being, not just what I was doing. And that led me to take another 2-year certification in journal therapy, writing to heal, using journaling specifically. And then on top of that, I decided to go and get a certification to be a hypnotherapist. So I'm a little bit of a learning
I want to say, is that all? Is that
oh, tell me more.
I'm exhausted listening to you.
I know, me too. But what I was doing was I was really looking at ways to connect all these things that had been bubbling inside of me that I wasn't honoring, because I was in the paradigm of the business world for so long. And I've created this, Blaze a Brilliant Path, which is transformational business strategy, because it's uniting all of me and all of who I am. I can't leave one part of me out or multiple parts of me out. So there you go.
So when people work with you, how does that work? Are you, because you have so many certifications and so many trainings, do you figure out which works the best, or you combine all of them when people come to you? How does that work exactly?
Well, primarily, I'm a business strategist at heart, and the reason I have 2 coaching certifications, but I don't call myself a coach for a reason, because the way my brain is wired up is I am a business strategist first. One of the things that I did a lot in corporate America was helping people, basically my stores, find money, and I'm really, really good at that. And I'm really good at systems, policies, procedures, structures, organization. That's primarily who I am. So when I work with my clients, I'm taking them through a process to build a business that's a reflection of them. So it's very structured in that we do go through a certain process, and yet it's very unstructured because it's totally related to them. So for some clients, I rely more on hypnotherapy and bring that in if they get stuck with some things that show up in their life. Sometimes we do journaling exercises. Sometimes we do more like affirmative prayer. There's a lot of different modalities that I bring into my work, and primarily it's helping women, coaches, consultants, and healers build a business that's a reflection of them, that's strategic and unique like they are.
I love it. You're bringing the left and the right, and I talk a lot about that, the brain hemispheres, because the business mindset doesn't, they just haven't learned it. And that's what I love about, for people who are listening, everything that you have gone through and learned, it's for a reason. Nothing's wasted, right? And
absolutely.
I've learned through my own health issues and all that there is a gift in everything. At the time, you don't want to think that there's no gift in this. However, look where you have blossomed into. That was all for your healing, but now you're helping others. Yeah. Right?
Yes, and I want to make sure I don't gloss over this, in that it took me 6 years. I didn't suddenly come out and start sharing this. I was doing my work, really doing my work, learning training, going to school, and doing work. So it took 6 years because I was diagnosed with panic attacks, anxiety, depression. I was the poster child. I was on antidepressants, and it took me time to come off those drugs, and I was in therapy every single week, and I really needed to focus on myself first, put myself first, before I could come back out and really help people in another way. I did a few things early on, around 2005, 6, 7. But they were very small and they were very internal. It wasn't in 2011 where I really launched this business, Blaze a Brilliant Path. I wasn't ready.
No.
And I couldn't be of service to anyone.
Actually, I think that's when I met you, was in 2011. I believe that was around the time that I met you. You talk a lot about conscious business. What is conscious business?
Conscious business is all about, I'll go back to who we're being in life, not just what we're doing, bringing our whole self in. And it's also a commitment to helping change the world, and yet changing the world starts with ourselves first. So that we show up, we do our work, where we get stuck, where we get angry, where we get frustrated, where things kind of like stick in our crock, kind of like they get sticky like Velcro. We come back and we do our work and we look at that and we say, why is this impacting me? It's looking at the mindsets that we're bringing into business, because if we're not looking at this consciously, our unconscious is running our business, and we're doing weird things, or they may even look normal on the surface, and yet if we're not connected to them, it's not a true expression of who we are. So that's how I define conscious business.
I agree, and so much happens in our lifetime and that we are not even aware of. And then I'm quite sure that working with you, and however the process that you do, they inevitably bubble up. And then like, I just percolate up. Okay, let's handle this.
So,
and open up.
No, go ahead, Nancy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no. That was just, I was just finishing there. But that's the outcome, right, Blaze?
It is, so that you have a business that's a true reflection of you, and that there's 3 key things that I talk about in everyone that I work with. It's positive mindset, it's financial freedom or financial leadership, and that you really are earning good money doing what you love, and that you've built a strategic business. So it's all about strategic marketing, financial leadership, and positive mindset. Those 3 things are the key things that I work on my clients with.
So what's the biggest lie that people believe about all this?
Well, the biggest lie is that we say that we're lost. And a lot of the people that I work with, I tend to work with women that have been in business 2+ years. And some as many as 20 years in business. And that's because what's happening at that point in their life, there's some magic that happens in your business around the 18-month to 2.5-year mark. And you feel lost, like you're in this dark tunnel, and you do see the light. You're not sure if it's a train or the end. The truth of all of this is it's all an illusion. It's all an illusion, and that what we come into, and I'll be a little woo here because my title is Transformational Business Strategist. The woo is there someone here bigger, larger than us, helping guide us? And I don't know if it's a someone or something or a being or whatever it is. There's something that already knows. Our business is already perfect, and I don't say the word perfect because of perfection. I say perfect in that it's all in order. It's all in alignment. And the lie is we think we're lost. And when we come back into the truth and really look at all the things we know, line up the things we know to be true, that helps us create the next step on the path that is brilliant. And lots of times we can't do it ourselves. We need someone guiding us to take that information from the past and guide us forward. So we're not really lost.
Well, wow, that's just, that's heavy. That's very, very heavy. And so how would somebody check their conscious business pulse?
So when you check your conscious business pulse, it's really simple. It's look at your posture. I mean, feel your posture right now as you're listening to this, watching us on our broadcast. I'm going to sit up just a little bit more in my chair. My body already knows my pulse. So when I'm a little slumpy, I'm showing up in my business a little slumpy. When I sit up just a little bit straighter, you know how when you go to conferences, sometimes they say, raise your hand as high as you can, and then everybody does, and then they say, raise it higher, and somehow you can manage to raise your hand higher. Isn't that always incredible? Yeah. So it's just like this. It's really, the pulse is, how can we sit up just a little bit taller? How can we own who we really are? Because every single person in this world, especially women who are really running conscious businesses, they're here. They got a big mission. They want to change the world. Like you two, want to connect people and change lives. That's a big mission. And yet, when we stand in the truth and the confidence of who we are, gosh darn it, we know we were put on this earth to do it. To bring every skill and talent we've always had to do it.
Yes. Well, you know what, and I think in this day and age, there are a lot of people who are working from home. I work from home. I know that you do, Blaze. Your husband does. Nancy works from home. We work from home. And I was asked this question the other day, are there any tips that you can tell or suggest to an entrepreneur, specifically if they work at home? And one of the things that I always talk about is that you may work at home, but you're still going to your office. And it's your off, and you need to show up as a professional business person, even if it's in your own home. That means don't show up to work, meaning your desk and wherever you're doing, in your pajamas. And I know that I've done it. I won't speak. I've done it, but I know that I'm not as functional when I do that, because I tend getting up then, and I'm going to go get something to eat, and I'm all over the place. So I show up dressed, and I know that wouldn't even be something you'd think about when you're in a brick and mortar or you have a regular 9-to-5. Of course you'd get dressed. Of course you would. So how does this play in and line up with what we're talking about here, in terms of how we present ourselves?
Well, it totally shows up in terms of how we present ourselves, because think of, like you just said, Caren, I just need to say this, in corporate America, they probably don't have a pajama day. They do have a casual day, right? But not a pajama day. And what it does, it totally lines up our brain, and that we're showing up to do this work. And, we all know it's not rainbows and butterflies every day having a business. It's challenging. It's really challenging. And I'm not saying that it's not without the challenges. And when we show up in this way, we're more in alignment to do the efforting that we need to do, because there is some part of our business, of course, that's doing. And then there's some part of our business that's all about grace. And when we're in alignment, the grace just takes over. It's this process that shows up that we don't have to work so hard. Something else, the weather, the light is taking over. I don't know what it is. So there you go.
I would say let God do the heavy lifting. And when I read, and this is my beliefs, that I'm never alone, because being an entrepreneur you can have that isolation, that feeling, the lone wolf feeling. And it was this goes back about 4 years ago. But I said, you know what? If I'm feeling that spirit's in here working, with me, well, we're working in tandem. So you find what also works, but also there's a lot to be said for support and being with like-minded people. And I know you have a very powerful and supportive group of not only friends, but business associates or business colleagues. Like, Caren is when I've got something going on, and we know that we dress for our success, because we'll just Skype on the fly. And no, I have not seen her in her pajamas. For
that matter.
But no, it's where I'm going with this is there is so much value, and people think they can do it alone. And I don't beg to differ. I proclaim that we are here to collaborate.
Totally agree with that. I mean, you need to have people that are in your corner that you can talk with, that you can just throw things out. Now, one of the things we talked about before the show was your lightning program. So let's talk a little bit about that, because you've had other challenges even throughout. You don't just have a challenge and it goes away, right? Challenges are going to be there. We all have them. It's how you approach them, how you react to them, how you respond to them. And you responded with a program called the Lightning Program. So tell us about that.
So Lightning came about, I actually created it 4 years ago, and it's a process, a mindset process, because what I find a lot, again, for entrepreneurs is this unconscious piece that runs. We can do tasks for our businesses. There's certain tasks that we need to do. When we don't understand the unconscious that's running underneath, that's many times where we get tripped up and we, fall behind, or there's things that we don't get accomplished and we don't realize why. So I created Lightning 4 years ago as a process for me to take myself through this. It's an amalgamation of a lot of different materials. It kind of looks like Byron Katie's The Work. It kind of looks a little bit like Harville Hendrix' mirroring work. There's some other pieces that come into it, and yet it's none of that and all of that together. It's something that I created myself, and I showed it to people 4 years ago. I really, really liked it, and they said, you need to start teaching it, and I was freaked out. I wasn't ready. It was bigger than me. I said, no, I can't do this. And what happened was this year in April was a really, really tough time for me, and in some ways, really, truly, it was harder than cancer. Because in cancer, I knew I was being held by the medical community. Talk about having colleagues and support. They were really helping me through this. In April, I just had a lot of things that were outside of my control, just really weird and random things happening, and my energy level was going incredibly down. There were multiple deaths in my life, and we all go through this. We're all like, what's next? It's the duck cover and hold. I was a duck cover and hold in April. So I pulled out Lightning again, and I really started doing this process for myself every day for 6 weeks. And what I really found, this process takes you from this place of total brain chatter of what's going on up here, and in the end, takes you to a place where it's really turning things into gold. It really is. It's the lightning strike that illuminates what was there. And when after a lightning storm, when it's really clear and crisp and there's no damage, there's no harm here. That's not what this is about. It's about clarity. And the clarity at the end gives you everyday practices, real things you can do, whether they're affirmations or mantras or prayers, or even how you set up your day from an intentional planning standpoint. Some people might call it like your to-do list. It takes all that and turns it on its ear and really puts it in a way that you can be more purposeful, be more intentional in your life, and really look at all that dark matter, that gook that was holding on to you and you didn't even know it. So I started teaching that in May to other people, because I was like, wow, I can't keep this. When you create something, all of us as entrepreneurs, we know that we can't hold on to this anymore. It's not ours. We just have to go out and teach it and share it, and that's what I've started doing.
That's wonderful.
Oh, that's beautifully said. So beautifully said, right, Caren?
Yeah.
And it's, you received it through. And this is where I go. I'm
divine. I know.
Inspiration, yeah. But it's not for we don't want to be the best kept secret. We know that this will help others, and so
it's wonderful. I know that our viewers are kind of wondering how they can get to know you even better. You've given us so much food for thought here in terms of how you've expressed yourself. And where can they go and check you out, and tell them what will happen when they go there to check you out?
Okay, you can go to my website, which is www.blaze, BLAZE, abrilliantpath.com. And when you go to my website, you'll see my picture and a big fireball on the front. And you can also sign up to be a member of my mailing list and receive your free guide. It's called How to Ignite Your Heart, Courage, and Insight to Be a Successful Entrepreneur. It's a mindset process, and it actually uses some of the metaphors from The Wizard of Oz about the Tin Man and the Scarecrow and the Lion. That's where it comes up with heart, courage, and insight to really walk you through some of the things that are showing up in your business. It's a really brief primer on some of the work that I do in the world.
I love that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Are there any last thoughts that you'd like to share with our viewers today? Anything that really is part of who you are that our viewers need to know?
Who I am. I have two gifts. You know when you really realize your superpowers in the world? My first gift that I shared is that I really have this incredible ability to find money. I always have. I've been doing this since I was a kid.
Great gift. I think share.
I'm the kid who played lotto numbers. All the other girls played dolls. I played bank. Okay, so that's weird.
Take that to the bank.
Yeah. The other gift that I have is, and I really own this, that I see other people, and I literally do see them, because I'm also an intuitive, a clairvoyant, and a clairsentient, and I can see them having this business, this life that they've wanted before they can. Many times what my role is to hold that vision for them when they can't yet, until they get there. And that's one of my, other superpowers. So, I find those just so incredible when I can share them. I don't get to often share them. So thank you, Nancy and Caren, that I can share them.
I'm telling you, I'm sitting here saying, I want to work with you. I mean, because you have that ability to mix the concrete, I guess is the best way I can say that, with the woo together and put it in for people like me who the woo doesn't necessarily resonate with me. There are, and I love that word woo. I mean, there are some things that resonate with me, but I like the word strategy, and I like the word, the things that are very concrete, that it's how my brain thinks. So thank you for how you and what you are sharing, because even I, who's not woo, totally understands what you're saying and totally gets it. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, and needless to say, I'm all about this. And,
I know.
And I had to learn these terms. I've always been intuitive since a child, but didn't until you know, and you start to, like Blaze was sharing, your growth and learning. And I feel like I've got this unfolding of cards to the next thing that I know will allow me to be even more me, and I love what you said, just being, and that's when you discover your superpowers, rather than just being so busy in the doing. So it has truly been a pleasure getting to know you even better, Blaze, and I can't say enough about you, and to encourage our viewers to connect with you and get started to blaze their brilliant path, right?
Exactly.
Well, Blaze, thank you so much. And I want to remind people that the Spark It Network app is now launched. And if you want to take these shows on the road with you so that you can listen to Connecting People, Changing Lives, or the Nancy Ferrari show, or any of the things that go on, we really encourage you to go download the app. It's absolutely free. There's a lot of great resources that are absolutely free. It's at sparkitnetwork.com/app. And then you can literally access our shows right there and join us. So as always, we want to thank our viewers. We know that you have a choice as to where you spend your time, and we want to thank you for spending your time with us today. So as always, we'll see you next week on the next episode of Connecting People, Changing Lives. Goodbye, everyone.